Welcome, bienvenidos, benvindu, to the Soccermetrics Copa Libertadores show, part of the SDH network, the only English language show devoted to South America's premier club competition. I'm your host, Howard Hamilton, the founder of Soccermetrics. Well, that major international football tournament has finally packed up and left North America. And yes, I'm talking about the World Cup. And while it's a real challenge to come down from the intensity of those matches to your local leagues or even a continental club competition, it's something that we have to do. So in this episode, I'll start that transition, looking back at the World Cup and looking ahead at the remaining 16 teams as they alter their squads for the knockout phases. So let's start with that review of players from Copa Libertadores sides in the World Cup. There were a total of 20 players in the final rosters among the 6 CONMEBOL qualifiers. And I'm going to run through those players in the order of those qualifying teams. And we start with Argentina. The lone Copa Libertadores player in Argentina's squad was Jose Lopez of Palmeiras. He featured exclusively in a substitute role, appearing in 2 matches for the World Cup runners-up and playing a total of 28 minutes. Next we go to Brazil, where all 3 players who played for Brazil from a Libertadores squad featured in one team, Flamengo. Alexandro, the defender, appeared in 1 World Cup match for Brazil for a total of 15 minutes. Lucas Paquetá, the midfielder, appeared 4 times for a total of 257 minutes, making an assist in the match versus Haiti and generating a total of 0.63 xG. The player who appeared the most for Brazil was Danilo Luiz, the center back for Flamengo, making 5 appearances for a total of 474 minutes, making 2 shots, and generating a total of 0.25 xG. Next we go to Colombia. Jorge Carrascal, midfielder for Flamengo, was in the final roster for Colombia, but didn't make any appearances in the tournament. John Arias, midfielder for Palmeiras, made 5 appearances. A total of 407 minutes. He scored 1 goal, and he generated 1.02 expected assists, which led all Libertadores players in the competition. Hamilton Campas, a forward for Rosario Central, appeared for Colombia in 3 matches over 84 minutes and scored 1 goal, that goal against Uzbekistan. Ecuador had only 1 player from a Libertadores side in their roster, for Gonzalo Plata of Flamengo. He made 4 appearances in Ecuador's World Cup matches, over a total of over 400 minutes, and he scored 1 crucial goal versus Germany. He generated 1.36 expected goals, leading all Libertadores players. The side that had the most participation among Libertadores players was Paraguay. Paraguay had a total of 6 players from Libertadores squads in their World Cup roster. Gatito Fernandez, a goalkeeper for Cerro Porteño, didn't make any appearances in this tournament, but his teammate Gustavo Velasquez, a defender, did, appearing 5 times over a total of 295 minutes. Ramon Sosa, midfielder at Palmeiras, made 1 appearance over a total of 20 minutes. Right-sided midfielder Mauricio appeared 4 times for Paraguay over a total of 188 minutes, scoring Paraguay's lone goal versus the USA, and he scored in the penalty kick shootout versus Germany. Gustavo Gomez, a teammate of Mauricio and Ramon Sosa at Palmeiras, made 5 appearances over a total of 485 minutes, scoring also in that penalty kick shootout versus Germany. And lastly, Alex Arce, a striker at Independiente Rivadavia, who appeared only 2 times in a substitute role, featuring for a total of 66 minutes. And last we go to Uruguay, where we saw 6 players in the World Cup roster, but only 3 of those players featuring in Uruguay's matches in the World Cup. And we start with Nico de la Cruz, a midfielder at Flamengo. He appeared 3 times for the Uruguayan squad, over a total of 117 minutes, earning a yellow card in the process. Guillermo Pereira, a defender for Flamengo, appeared every minute for the Uruguayan squad in their 3 matches, also earning a yellow card. The player who kind of contributed the most, who was kind of the most consequential among Libertadores players, was Agustin Canobio. The midfielder for Fluminense appeared in 3 World Cup matches, over a total of 263 minutes. He scored a goal versus Cabo Verde, but he also earned a red card in Uruguay's final group match versus Spain. And lastly, Jorgen de Arrascaeta of Flamengo, Emiliano Martinez of Palmeiras, and Joaquin Piqueres of Palmeiras were in the final squad, but did not appear in any World Cup match. So if we break down the World Cup contributions by Libertadores squad, Flamengo contributed a whopping 8 players to World Cup squads in North America, followed by Palmeiras on 7, Cerro Porteño on 2, and Rosario Central, Fluminense, and Independiente Rivadavia with 1 player each. So it's really interesting to see that the one Paraguayan representative contributed exclusively to their home country. Palmeiras and Flamengo contributed not only to Brazil, but to the rest of South America. And the 2 Argentine squads contributed none of their players to the Argentine national team, but definitely to their neighbors. Really interesting to see those players. It'll be interesting to see how they transition from World Cup play back to Libertadores play. Because even if you didn't play a huge number of matches, that is a big transition from the intensity of the World Cup to a competition that's no less intense, but at a different level, like Copa Libertadores. And now let's talk about who is in and out of these Libertadores sides. The summer transfer market is in full swing. It's still going on, but knockout round matches start next week. So it's useful to understand where these squads stand as we get closer to the renewal of the Libertadores competition for 2026. So let's start with the group winners. Flamengo haven't made any changes. A check on Transfermarkt and also a check on Brazilian news outlets don't indicate any changes to the squad, whether incoming or outgoing. Coquimbo Unido of Chile made a change. Facundo Pons arrived to the squad from San Martín de Tucumán. They have had a number of players leave during the transfer season. Dylan Escobar going to Limache, Christian Savallo on loan to Colo-Colo, and Pablo Rodriguez on loan to San Felipe. Independiente Rivadavia haven't made any changes in terms of incoming players, but one significant change has taken place in terms of outgoing players. Sebastian Villa, who featured so prominently for the Mendoza side in the group stage, is off to Boca Juniors. Boca Juniors paying 5.7 million euros for his rights. That's about $6 million or $6.5 million US. In addition, seven players who are on loan will reach the end of their loan period at the end of the year. But Sebastian Villa is a big departure for the Argentine side as they enter the knockout stage. Universidad Católica haven't seen any players incoming ahead of the knockout round. They do have a number of players who are leaving on loan, though. Brian Gonzalez on loan to San Felipe, and Vicente Cárcamo on loan to Limache. Corinthians don't have any changes in terms of incoming or outgoing players. Cerro Porteño have seen the most activity in terms of incoming and outgoing players. Players coming in include Fabricio Dominguez from Sport Recife, and they actually paid 1.1 million euros for him. Manuel Rofo from Instituto de Córdoba, paying also €1 million, and Ariel Gamarra from Argentinos Juniors paying 875,000 euros. Players coming in on loan include Agustin Almendra from Necaxa, Luis Meroja from Mazatlan, Ivan Ramirez from Libertad, Alex Cañete from Nacional of Paraguay, and Angel Martinez from Segunda de Mayo. Players going out include Vilder Vieira from going to Instituto de Córdoba, Alan Sonora going to Newell's Old Boys, Alexis Martin Arias going to the Uruguayan Nacional, Rodrigo Melgarejo going to Nacional de Asunción, and Fabrizio Peralta going to Cruzeiro. Liga de Quito have made some changes. Jose Carabalí joined the squad from Universitario, and Liga de Quito paying 525,000 euros for him. In addition, Kevin Velasco is coming in from Music Runa, and Ivan Zambrano. Going out, Michael Caicedo to Huntsville City in the USL. They're also having a number of players being loaned out. Kevin Minda to Melgar, Jesus Medina to Independiente Medellín, and Daniel de la Cruz to Nacional, this club based in Portugal. Independiente del Valle have seen one player coming in from Olympia. I don't have his name, but I do know that they paid close to 2 million euros for him. Going out, Justin Lerma going to Borussia Dortmund, Dortmund paying 4 million euros for him, and Joaquin Pombo going to Aldo Civi. Now let's look at the group runners-up. Starting with Estudiantes de La Plata. They've seen some activity in the transfer market. A lot of players coming in on loan. Gonzalo Pinheiro coming in on loan from Tigre, Santiago Flores from Temperley, and Alexis Manyoma from the Colorado Rapids of MLS. Going out, Fabricio Amato to Zalaegerszeg, I'll pronounce that right, Zalaegerszeg of Hungary for 250,000 euros. Gonzalo Pinheiro going back on loan, this time to Kalamata of Greece. Matias Godoy going out to Aldo Civi, and a number of players going out on loan, including Tomas Palacios to Inter Milan, Bryant Aguirre to Boca Juniors, and Eros Mancuso to Fortaleza. Deportes Tolima have seen some activity, mostly on loan. This is going to be a trend for those non-Brazilian teams. Omar Martinez is joining the club on loan from FC Juarez of Mexico. Alongside him, Jorge Hurtado on loan from Watford. And Miguel Ortega joined from Llaneros FC. Going out, Juan Pablo Nieto going to Once Caldas, another Colombian side. Gerson Gonzalez going to Independiente Santa Fe, and Luis Martinez going to Atlético Nacional. Fluminense have seen a number of significant changes to their squad, and some significant incoming players who previously featured for other Libertadores sides. Chiefly among them, Hulk, a 39-year-old joined from Atlético Mineiro, where he was a legend for over 5 years for the Belo Horizonte side. Join him, Thiago Silva from Porto. Kaique Almeida joined from Remo in the north of Brazil. And Jago Ferreira joined from Maid FC in the Middle East. Cruzeiro have probably spent the most money in the summer transfer market so far. They are bringing in Gabriel Peck from the LA Galaxy, and they've paid close to $12 million for his services. Gabriel Rojas from Racing Club, paying close to $6 million US. Zé Lucas from Sport Recife, paying 4.4 million euros. And Luis Sinisterra from Bournemouth, paying close to 4 million euros. In addition, they have a number of players join the squad on loan. Lautaro Diaz from Santos, Leo Aragao from Avaí FC, Fabrizio Peralta from Cerro Porteño. Going out, Christian going to Krasnodar, the side in Russia paying close to $11 million US for him. Gawa Prates going to Dortmund. Dortmund paying 7 million euros. Bruno Alves going to Norwich on a loan plus cash deal. Norwich paying about 300,000 euros for him. In addition to that, there are a number of players being loaned out. Kaique going to Como. Mateus Cunha going to Internacional of Porto Alegre. Wallace going to Vitória. Lautaro Diaz to Racing Club. Chico da Costa to Sport Recife. Japan to Mirassol. And Muriel Rickman to Sport Recife. Platense have one player incoming. Nicolas Lopez from Nacional de Montevideo. They have a number of players going out. Agustin Alonso going to Gimnasia de Jujuy in the extreme northwest of Argentina. Matias Borgogno going to San Martin de San Juan. Agustin Ocampo going to Progreso of Uruguay. Palmeiras have one significant incoming player. Alex Barbosa joined the squad from Botafogo. The former Libertadores winner joined the side. Palmeiras paying 3.4 million euros for him. Leaving the squad are Naves going to Necaxa. Necaxa paying 2.6 million euros. And Aranha going on loan to Moreirense of Portugal. Mirassol have a number of players joining. Alisson from Torpedo Moscow in the Russian Premier League, paying 500,000 euros for him. In addition, Gustavo Silva from Júbilo Iwata, Edson Carioca from Goiás, Fernandinho from Ceará, Gustavo Casanati from Sporting Cristal. Players arriving on loan include Japan from Cruzeiro, Gabriel from Cuiabá, Elias from Villanova. Going out are Yuri Lara going to Júbilo Iwata, Nathan Fogazza going to Fortaleza, Rodriguez going to Kalamata of Greece, Lucas Mugni going to Ceará, Everton Galdino going to FC Tokyo, and Tiquinho Soares going to Santos. And lastly, Rosario Central. A number of players are coming in. Franco Cervi coming in from Celta de Vigo. Sebastián Saracho joined the squad from Guarani. Axel Werner joined from Elche. And Tomas Badaloni coming in from Necaxa. Going out are Jorge Bron going to Universidad de Concepción, Carlos Quintana going to Deportivo Riestra, Enzo Jimenez going to Querétaro, Luciano Ferreira going to San Martín de San Juan. So those are the changes among the 16 Libertadores teams in the knockout stage. So as expected, it's the Brazilian clubs who are spending money, or at least those who are choosing to spend money, are more than likely Brazilian teams. Really, some significant changes. It'll be really interesting to see how these squads adapt to those changes as we enter the knockout stage. So, if you have a comment or question about this podcast or about the Libertadores, you're welcome to send them to my X handle at Soccermetrics. You could also send questions or comments to @SoccerDownHere or to Jason Longshore at Longshoe. This show is also distributed on YouTube and Facebook, and you can follow conversations there. I'll be back in a few days' time to preview the round of 16 for the Copa Libertadores. This has been the Soccermetrics Copa Libertadores show, proudly part of the SDH network. See you later. Hasta luego e até mais.